Hi everybody, can you all hear me? Okay, good. I promise, this is Pim's show, but I decided it would be the Frickin' Frack show because she really wanted us to get started. I wanted to do questions and answers rather than a speech. So, without further ado, I'm going to start out with one question.
Well, let me try to introduce myself.
Oh, absolutely. Excuse me.
I know, like a little bit,
Yes, go, please. Oh, yes, you've got.
Hi, สวัสดีเจ้า I'm Pim Kemasingki, editor of Citylife Chiang Mai, which is a local rag that's been going around for nearly 30 years, actually 30 years this year. Barely. Clinging on. I just want to make a bit of a personal disclaimer that please don't ask me any questions to do with visas or anything like that because I simply don't know. I'm Thai. And I've had a bit of a couple of years myself with personal issues and stuff, so I haven't been as in touch with things as I should be. So I do apologize, and I'll try my best. I have told Julia that I really am not as in touch as I used to be anymore. So bear with me, and I'll try and answer whatever questions that you have as best as I can. So that's it.
Thanks so much, Pim. And absolutely, I am so excited that Pim is here for our first meeting in 2 years. So, okay. So one of the things that we wanted to ask Pim was we hear so much about a whole group of people who were so severely impacted by COVID. But we were wondering if she could share with us anything about how it has impacted the businesses that tried to stay in business during COVID. I mean, all of a sudden we've gotten a double whammy with Promenada closing and Katsuan Cow and who knows what else is on the menu for the future. But Pim, go for it.
Thanks, Julia. Well, I think you've got to be completely blind as a bat not to realize that some of us have been affected. It hasn't been the greatest of times, but I would say, and I'm sure Reese would agree, right, that a lot of our clients have been suffering greatly. It's been a really, really, really tough time. A lot of my clients used to be restaurants, hotels, service, tourism-related businesses. So I'd say about 80% of my clients have disappeared. That's a lot. It hurts. So, however, there is a lot of microeconomies starting up. Like the new marijuana economy. There's all sorts of stuff going on online. All of my staff, pretty much, well, the ones that are left, are wheeling and dealing online, most of the time to each other. They're creating like little microeconomies of themselves. People are hustling, people are doing every single thing they can. They've got 3-4 jobs. But businesses themselves, especially Chiang Mai ones with no big Bangkok finance behind it, yeah, we're really, really suffering. As to the malls, again, as you can see, it's the big Bangkok ones that are surviving, not the local ones. So there's not that much money I can't see in the local economy. There's still wealthy people, obviously, but we are suffering, yeah.
Okay. Audience, please, if you have questions, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not much of a speech person, but I'll answer anything you have for me.
Okay? Okay,
Pim, I got one. Can you tell, everybody was affected by COVID. I'm back here.
Hi.
I've stood up my limit for the day, so I'm sitting down. But we were all affected, but most of us have retirement checks or Social Security. We have some income, but many of the Thai people didn't. Can you give us the regular going up and down the street Thai person's vision of what happened to them? Because I can imagine it was miserable for us, but they must have been devastated.
Well, I think, this is just my sort of observations, we have still, thankfully, a very strong family, base. So there's very, very tiny villages with family units there that are very supportive. So a lot of the people simply went back to the villages, right at the beginning. 2 of my maids just said, bye, ciao. Our family want us back because they're concerned about the dangers of the city. And so they went back to Mcmillan. And so a lot of people went home, and which in a way, I don't know, I'm quite excited about this because I don't know if you recall, if you've been here long enough, the 1997 Asian crash. Remember the Tom Yum crisis when we had a huge economic crash? And a lot of that, at that time, a lot of people didn't have jobs, so they all went home. So for the big cities, they all went off to their villages. And it kind of kick-started the decentralization of Thailand to a point, because they went to the villages, they settled down, they turned their old farms from chemicals to organic, they began to open up coffee shops, and that was when all these little villages began to have like economies. So I'm kind of hoping that that might happen again this time, because I have seen so many people, so many of my friends just leaving the big cities and going home, and they've started noodle shops, they've started tourism businesses. So perhaps there's some silver lining to all of this, but what I've seen the most is just the simple wheeling and dealing online. My office workers, one selling brownies, another one selling chili paste, another one's making handbag leather wallets, another one's doing graphic design, freelance. You know, every single person is hustling. And it kind of keeps itself sustained to a point. Well, at least no one is absolutely, well, I'm not saying no one, but we're not seeing masses of starvation in the street. When I interviewed authorities about homelessness, we actually didn't have a crisis in Chiang Mai, which is actually really quite impressive. So, yeah, Thai people are extremely entrepreneurial. I went to a meeting in Korea in about 2008, and it was a Business and Professional Women's Association of the World international meeting, and there were business women from all over the world, and the president at the time happened to be Thai, something not one. And she said, I don't know where she got her statistic from, and I've chased her a few times about this, and she hasn't backed it up, but she said that statistically, Thai women especially have more entrepreneurship than most nations in the world. You look at all the little businesses that are run by women. So Chiang Mai women as well, if you're looking historically, like you go back super far, this is all anecdotal, but it is based on all my interviews I do with the real experts. Chiang Mai used to be a city at the bottom of the Silk Road, right? So it was built like as a little bottom of the Silk Road. So we were at the crossroads of a lot of trade. So the men apparently used to go off and facilitate the trade routes, and the women would stay put. And so Chiang Mai would have all these international people coming over here from everywhere doing trade, and it was the women who used to do all the business and sort of keep the homestead, safe. And this is a city that's always been multinational. It's a city that's always been run by pretty strong, powerful women who've been keeping the pockets of the city. So I've got good faith. I think we'll bounce back, but not anytime soon. That was a bit long, sorry.
Do you have a question?
Would you be so kind? Many people may not be familiar with the resources in your magazine or the other apps like Meetup or other ways to find each other besides this meeting. Would you be good enough to help us review the resources that might be available
Sure.
to build our community? Thank you.
Because it's changed, hasn't it? 12 years ago, I think when we started the print media started to go, was about 2008, 2009. So just before that, Chiang Mai had 15 English language publications monthly. Can you believe it? 15. I mean, you just walk into a shop and you just like pick them up everywhere. So now I think it's printed, it's zero. I haven't seen any. However, as I'm sure you well know, there's some very strong Facebook community groups that a lot of people go and get their information from. Buy, sell, swap, Chiang Mai Expats, Chiang Mai Community, whatever. Citylife, we do our best. We have on Facebook, on Instagram, and our website, chiangmaicitylife.com, but it's just a one-woman band now, so if I wake up late like I did today, then there's little news, and some days I'm feeling perky, I do a lot of news. So I used to have a team of, 3-4 English-speaking, fluent, first language writers, and maybe another 3 Thai writers. Now it's just me. So the media world has shrunk, but thanks to the internet, there's a lot of free resources out there, so you can go to, I believe Meetup, the app has a lot of events on it. And then there's also so many sort of little subcultures that have their own sort of resources and information, I'm sure you do, that I don't know as well. But the mediascape has completely changed, whereas it was the Bangkok Post, the Nation, now it's the Coconut, it's, Disrupt, whatever. So there's a lot of new players, and again, I don't know them. I used to know every single editor in pretty much Southeast Asia, and even the top ones in the world. Now I don't know one. So it's changed dramatically, and it's really hard to keep up.
Do you have another question,
You have me wondering if the old Thai tradition of the men going on range retreat and the women taking over the farm might also contribute to the entrepreneurial spirit of Thai women.
The men going on what retreat?
The men would go on range retreat.
Range. Sorry, what?
They would go to the monastery.
Right. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't hear.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
And the women would take over the farm.
Yeah.
Do you think that might...
I mean, that's a lovely, to be honest, when I talk to, Michael Schaefer from Warm Heart Foundation, he says that it just doesn't happen really anymore, not so much. And when men do disappear, it's normally because they can't sustain the farms in the north through the whole year, right? You have your season, once the harvest has been done, often the men and the older sons will go to the big cities. So they go to Bangkok, they go to Chiang Mai, and they go and do day labor jobs and send money home to the women. So yes, they do go away. And it's not good for the family because it's broken up for 6 months. Who knows who gets up to what when they go to the big city as well, so that's not the best. And but yes, traditionally it has been the women. I mean, Ajahn Withi is one of the top historians of Chiang Mai. He started the Fine Arts Foundation, Fine Arts Faculty at Chiang Mai University. And he says that basically it's been Thai women, Chiang Mai women that have been running the economy through history. He said there even used to be a name I've forgotten for partitions, and they'd have meetings. So the men would have meetings, but then behind them would be a partition with their wives sitting back there saying, whispering and telling them what to say. So apparently, I'm quoting historians here, not laying any claims, but yeah, it has been a very strong matriarchal society. He calls it the sticky rice people. So everyone who eats sticky rice is basically one of the last matriarchal societies in the world, he says. So I don't know, but it feels like it.
Hey, Pim.
Hi.
Look at your crystal ball. What do you see as the future of tourism here in Chiang Mai?
Please come back. I honestly, if I had a crystal ball, I'd be in a better shape than I am now, I'm afraid. But they will come back, surely, right? They will. But it depends on when. And China is going to be a big game changer here. Whether the Chinese, the influx comes back, that's going to change the way that Chiang Mai positions itself for tourism. But I think, like a lot of us, I thought that the last 2 years would have been a good time to reflect on where we went wrong and perhaps, change directions and pivot a little bit. But unfortunately, I haven't seen too much of that going on. There have been a few meetings in the Ministry of Tourism and Sports, TATs, Head of Hotel Associations, whatever, and I've been to them, and it's a little bit sad. It's still the same old conversation over and over again. In fact, someone was talking about the Loi Katong, we should get all the Pharangs back, the Loi Katong, the Khom Loi lantern. And then someone, I think it was Gabriel Lombardo from the Shangri-La, he kindly, correctly, righteously popped up and said, you can't promote those pictures because it's all banned, because of the planes. So it's false advertising. You can't go around doing that. So we really haven't got our act together, I'm afraid. Good stuff. Positive stuff for Saturday morning.
Hi, Pim. It's lovely to see you again.
Hi!
I have a very simple question. I always loved your yearly fair. Are you planning another one this year?
It's on. I think it's the 26th of November, I think. Yeah, yay! So I really hope, I'm afraid that it's not going to be a full-on charity fair, because the Citylife Garden Fair, if you haven't been to it, it started off as like an English little country fair to raise money in 2005, January, for the tsunami victims. So since then, with Steve Yarnold, we did it twice a year to raise money for various charities, local charities, but obviously not for the last 2 years. And obviously, I can't go around having my hand out to businesses and asking them to give me vouchers because they're all suffering too. So the charity part of it, I'm going to ask people to just donate and that'll be it. But yes, there will be a fair, and it will be festive, and pandemics allowing, it'll be fun.
Hello? Is it
Hi.
working?
Yeah.
My name is Mcmillan, and My husband and I have been here for 4 years now, and we're just delighted to be here. And it's been heartbreaking for us to see what the COVID has done to everyone. Anyway, to make a long story short, the first purchase we made, we were here 2 weeks. We went down to the Anasan Market, and we bought 2 carpets from a delightful man in the Anasan Market. We became friends with him. So we started, that was our first purchase, and COVID hit, and the gentleman who we bought these carpets from had to go back to Kashmir. He was gone for 2 years. We went to the Anasan Market, and I found myself, I was in tears, I cried, because the Anasan Market was absolutely dead. And I thought of all these Thai people whose living had been just decimated. And so we went down there whenever we could, and we would buy things from the few people who were there. We'd come home with head scratchers, things we absolutely didn't need, but we would do anything we could and buy anything we could every time we went somewhere. We would eat in the Thai restaurants. And I would encourage you to continue to do these sorts of things. Continue to use Nancy's little, I don't know, they're owls, I guess. Put your change in there to support the effort to keep, keep supporting the efforts that are made out there to keep the, children to learning, to swim. That's the biggest killer of Thai children. Do anything and everything you can, from the smallest things to the big things.
We really appreciate your insights and all of the things that you have done to contribute to the
And they're
community.
little things, but
Yep.
every
Thank you.
little bit helps. Please, please do what you can. We are
Absolutely.
guests here in this country. Do what you can.
Okay,
That's very kind.
thank you.
One question for you. When we discuss things with various economists around Thailand, there doesn't seem to be any consensus as to the demographics of the expats that are here. Is there any way we can find out who's left of the Australian, British, Yankee society? Because nobody seems to know how many have defected because of changes in insurance requirements and COVID. It'd be very helpful to try to explain the economic impacts or affect policy if we knew who the heck was here.
I think that question might be best directed to Reese, who probably has more knowledge of visas and all that. I speak to consuls, and they don't even know. They haven't had that much support. They don't even know how many of their people anymore. Because pre-pandemic, so let's say like 5 years ago, I knew roughly how many expats there were. There were 800 Swedes, for instance. There were 2,000 Dutch, 4,000 Swiss. Or was it the other way around? Yeah. But now, even the consuls don't know, and I'm afraid I don't have a good relationship with immigration. They don't like me. I've been a bit mean about them in the past, so I can't go to them and ask. So I don't know, but maybe Reese can help you with that one. I'm sorry. Yeah, but obviously the number of expats has shrunk. I think we can confirm that bit. Yeah, that's all I know, I'm afraid.
Okay, I think we have time for one. Yes, Mac.
Hello there, I'm Dale from South Australia, and I'm back for a holiday after 2 years of not being able to come here. Yesterday I just returned from my friend's farm up at Sukhothai, or down at Sukhothai, south to Sukhothai, and I sort of said to her, I'll help you out and go along to the expats club and see how she could get it. She owns a farm sort of probably half an hour out of Sukhothai and next to a preserve, and she was looking for, she owns the farm that was given to her by her parents, but she was looking at how to get some finances to set up a homestay type business. And I don't know if that is quite appropriate for me to bring that up here.
No, a lot of people are looking to set up homestays and small businesses in their hometown, and at this point, financing is going to be really, really hard. I've got a house, you know, it's a freehold house in Nimani. I mean, I can't get financing. The banks are just really, really not being very helpful. But however, just go on social media, clean up the house, you know. She can do it. There are people who are successfully turning their little homes in the middle of nowhere into spectacularly successful. It's all about word of mouth, it's all about those IG pictures, it's all about, so if she gets social media savvy, I mean, I'm really talking myself out of a business these days, but if she uses social media and she does it well, and there's examples out there are tutorials out there, she can do it herself.
As I said, she's right next to a reserve, or great big mountains and...
Sounds lovely,
and
go for it.
Rainbow waterfalls there, and apparently there was a place being set up and it was already being advertised, but then COVID set in and that didn't go ahead. So she got the idea of going for it, but of course it didn't have the finance. Thanks for
Yeah, the finance is a tough one, I'm afraid. We're all struggling. There was one question you had there that about the marijuana.
Yes.
Was there anyone curious about that? So woohoo! It's I just came across a shop last night. Was it or 2 nights ago? A weed truck on Nimani in Soi 7 at the intersection. It's quite extraordinary. And I've been a lifetime smoker. I normally just smoke a little bit before I go to bed just to relax me. And I'm blown away. I'm absolutely quite stunned by all this. So yes, you can buy from any of the legal dealers. I believe there's M Studio, there's the Weed Boom, it's called, Weed Boom truck, and a few other, I think there's an app as well. So it is legal to buy, it is legal to smoke in your own homes or somewhere private. Just don't go and puff into a policeman's face, you know, he won't be too amused. Although, I did ask the food truck if they had trouble with the police, and they said the police have been wonderful. In fact, a friend of mine went to Bangkok last week, and it was only a few days before this all, opened, and he took some with him in his bag at the airport, and he was really, really nervous, English guy, and he got to the airport and went through the scanner, and he was like, and they're like, sir, can we have a look? And obviously started sweating bullets, and they opened up his bag, and they pulled out his little bag that he had his little weed in, and they opened it up, and they pulled out the weed, they put it down, pulled out his lighter and said, sir, no lighter, no lighter. And that was that at the airport. So I'm telling you, it's all good. just don't be obnoxious about it.
Okay, time, we've done.
Yeah?
I think, yes.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for being late and obnoxious. Thank you.